And we're back. What's up, everybody? It's Roots to Grooves. I'm Jesse. That's Jay. It's Roots to Grooves. What can I say?
How's it going, everybody?
What up, Jay?
Word of Wisdom, Part 2.
Uh-oh, Jay's got something to drop on us immediately.
I'm just... every week, I'm going to find something. But this week, it came to me, and I told you in the studio in our secret session.
Tell the people.
So this is from a guy called Huey Piano Smith. He recently passed away, and I ended up reading an obituary about him in New York Times. Never heard of him. Apparently, he wrote songs like "Don't You Just Know It," "Rockin' Pneumonia," and "The Boogie Woogie Flu."
Okay, I'm familiar.
He's from New Orleans, and that was unrelated because I was down in New Orleans when I read the story. Completely unrelated though. But Dr. John is a big New Orleans guy, also passed away, but he said that this guy, Huey Piano Lewis, gave him some words of advice for writing music.
Huey Lewis?
Huey Smith, sorry.
Oh.
Did I say Huey Lewis?
Yeah, I think so.
That's someone else, yeah.
Yeah,
Anywho.
okay.
So this guy, Huey Piano Smith, he said, anyone who can talk can write a song. So whatever you got to say, play good music and say it. You just put it where you need to say it.
Put it where you need to say
Put
it.
it where you need to say it.
That's good.
He also said, if you don't have a song that's got some kind of simple melody people can hum, sing, and roll with, it's like what you got.
Nothing. Nothing.
So I like that. It just came to me. I didn't have to research that wisdom of songwriting lore this week.
It just came up naturally.
Came up naturally. Take from it what you will. I like the fact that anyone who can talk can sing.
I like that too.
That's a good way.
It's all inclusive.
I also heard. Sorry. Side note before we get into the episode. Also, I saw an interview with Damon Albarn the other day because they just dropped the new Gorillaz album.
Indeed.
Which is great.
Cracker Island.
He did a whole studio tour of his place in London.
I did watch that.
Yeah, and I liked a little bit. And he said, the host was saying he was playing drums on some trip and he was told to shut up or something like that. And Damon was like, oh, that's not fair. Anyone should be allowed to play an instrument.
I saw that. It was almost like an offhand comment.
It was offhand. It wasn't like part of an interview. It was just like...
He was like going to almost comment on it, but he was going to show something else, another random didgeridoo instrument or something. He's like, he should get to play too.
Exactly.
It's not just me.
So I like that. Anyway. Digression over. Episode. Sorry.
We like Damon. We like Damon.
Yeah.
But we were talking about post-Animal, and it's good to be back on Rooster Grooves. 2023. It's the 2nd of March.
Yes.
So welcome in. I guess you said a tangent. I'll say a tangent. Jay was in my dream last night.
Really? Uh-oh.
And it was steamy.
Uh-oh.
No, it was good. I don't remember all of it or the purpose of it or the reason or what to learn from it. Still dissecting, but we were in some kind of studio. It was a big, massive studio. We were like shooting a music video or something.
Oh, wow.
I was on drums for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I think my buddy Kalen was there. Recently had a birthday. Happy birthday, Kalen.
Happy birthday, Kalen.
And then I don't remember what you were doing, but you were either doing some producing. You were right there in the room or playing another instrument, maybe even singing. But I think we were doing I only realized this after I woke up. We were doing some cover of some big rock star, and I couldn't remember in the dream. I was feeling it was Leary or something, but when I woke up, it was Richard Ashcroft.
Okay.
We were doing some cover of Richard Ashcroft. I don't know which song.
Yeah.
And that's all that transpired in the dream that I remember.
Wow.
But you were in it, and it was a fun dream.
Premonition. Do you remember what the studio looked like? Was it cool?
It was cool. It felt like it was probably a green screen, but in the dream, it's like I could see it.
Yeah.
It was like being in like the Windows, screensaver. Like bright blue sky and hills, and we were like playing music.
Well, that's kind of like the thing we did with Dave. Oh, we're going on a real tangent.
A little bit, yeah.
With the background they had for that thing, anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, but yeah, let's get into it. We're talking about post-Animal.
So you did an actress one on this. Another digression a little bit first, because you know how the actress episode, I was thinking it was a completely different artist that I was trying to suggest.
Yeah.
So
no, exactly. So I don't know what happened. Again, I had a dream last night. Things were crazy. Yeah. Got it mixed up. But I thought this was an Australian band. I was thinking of an Australian band. I can't remember who it was now. But apparently for a long time I've had this name mixed up with music. And I thought misconstrued. I was wrong. And I don't know how to solve the problem. But anyway, we did research for Post-Animal, which is a band out of Chicago.
Yeah.
But it was in the same genre of kind of psychedelic rock, essentially.
Okay, so you'll have to like hunt that down somehow.
Yeah, I'll find out, and then it'll be a good episode. Yeah, but Post-Animal, American psychedelic rock band formed in 2014.
Yeah,
we got. It's like psychedelic indie, but I like that they have influence from Black Sabbath. Yeah, so like a little bit of heavier or darker stuff.
Yeah.
But then lighter stuff like the Beatles or like 70s rock. Yeah. I noticed they said like the Eagles, probably some Steely Dan or something kind of lighter. Yeah. I don't know.
I hear a little Pink Floyd influence.
Yeah, sure. Totally. Yeah. So, but I like the dynamic between that. So they have these heavier influences and lighter ones and they mash them up. They're really not afraid to have kind of darker songs or kind of lighter songs. So it's a cool dynamic. Yeah. What do you like about these guys? What'd you find out?
I listened to their first release that was on Spotify called This is a great title. Post-Animal perform the most curious water activities.
Yeah, it is curious title.
Great
I like it.
album cover as well. It's really like 60s psychedelic or whatever. 2015 that came out apparently, and that is very psychedelic. We're gonna play a track from it in a little while, but I really liked how that album sounds and how the band sounds. I was definitely getting Tame Impala mixed with Pink Floyd vibes, and then I read a description that I think Chicago Tribune might have said about them, saying if Tame Impala listened to a lot of Black Sabbath and were signed to Elephant Six. I don't know what Elephant Six is, but there you go.
I don't either, but definitely the song we opened up the podcast with is Tame Impala vibes.
Yeah.
I could really hear that. That was one of the first earlier songs that they released.
Yeah.
And not to say that I didn't know who Post Animal was completely, because there was a band member that left, who we're going to talk about in a second.
So I didn't know anything at all, actually, until you sent me the link. And
That's exciting.
The album. Yeah,
that's exciting.
Yeah,
because it's good stuff.
Yeah, it is.
But it's a fairly newish band.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, and I did know that one song that we opened up with. I was familiar with that. It just comes up on my psych rock playlist, songs that I've liked or whatever.
Right.
And it's cool. So these guys do have some cool vibes.
Yeah.
They come out of the Chicago scene. Apparently there's a pretty cool scene down there with other bands like Twin Peaks, the Orwells, a band called Knee High. Good stuff.
Is a band called White Reaper from there as well?
Not familiar.
I keep hearing this. I've heard this band name over and over again. White Reaper. We have to do some more digging on them, because I've heard about them on other episodes of other artists that we've covered. Like, they keep coming up, and I don't know anything about them, but I think they're from Chicago.
Sounds like it's the next episode.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, they're not from Chicago, sorry, but yeah.
Well, hence we haven't done the research on that
Exactly.
one. But let's get into this. I think that's all we know about Post Animal, but pretty cool psych rock. It's how many people are in there? 5 right now? 4?
5 right now, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Should we name check them before we move on? Yeah.
I got Dalton Allison,
bass and vocals,
Jake Hirschland,
guitar, keys, and vocals,
Javi Reyes,
guitar and vocals.
Hope I'm pronouncing these right. As always, we try our best.
Yeah.
Wesley Toledo,
drums and vocals.
Great name. Matt Williams,
guitar and vocals. All vocals. They all do vocals.
Yeah, which is cool. And we'll talk about more as they go, but it's not a one-headed beast. They all produce, they all have different ideas, they all bring different things to the table.
Yeah.
And, it's a smorgasbord, and they all get to have creative influence on what ends up being on the record.
Yeah.
And for that, I really respect them, and I think that's cool.
Definitely, yeah.
So let's play our next track and get into this.
All right. You listen to Rooster Grooves. That was Post Animal with their track Goggles from their album Post Animal Perform the Most Curious Water Activities.
Dynamite.
That was the first ever piece of music I heard from this band, and wasn't sure where it was going when it started out, just with good guitar and
hella intimate.
Yeah, intimate music.
They get rocky,
sure. Yeah,
psychedelic-y,
yeah,
but it's still got a lot of heart and feeling and tenderness, even, you could say.
Yeah, I like those descriptions. Yeah.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah.
So we didn't say, they have like 4 albums out.
Yeah.
Just real quick, since 2014.
Mm-hmm. A few EPs as well in the
a bunch of EPs, which is kind of how they got their start. We'll talk about this like right now, basically, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah.
But let's go back into the way back machine. Let's take it back a few years. Charge the batteries, take our spaceship back in time.
Right.
And we're in 2014. No, let's go further back.
Oh, okay.
We're going further back. I turned the dial up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so basically, I know.
What do you know?
What do I know?
Because now I'm in some year before 2014, and I don't know anything.
I led us astray. I'm sorry. I know Dalton Allison and Matt Williams were childhood friends.
Yeah.
That's basically all I know.
Right.
And so that's how they started the band, the two of them. But let me go a little bit further back, because I was reading the interviews, or I'm horrible at my job right now of telling you guys this information, but some of them, they all had a little bit of a background in music, like pretty young.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I know one of them had like an acoustic guitar, just given to them. I don't know if their families were super musical, but obviously a little bit of influence was there. One of the band members, their mom was a bass player, I think, in a band, and she had a nice Ibanez 80s bass lying around. So one of the band members, that was like their first experience, kind of strumming on something, just making some noise. So they all had, I'm just trying to paint the picture that they all had a little bit of a background as children, basically.
Right. Yeah.
And then that's all I know on the super early stuff, unless you got anything.
All I know is Jake Hirschland, one of the members. He originally came from Madison, Wisconsin.
Nice.
That's all I know. And we didn't mention at the top of the show one of the founding members of Post Animal, but he had to leave, Joe Keery.
We're talking about Joe then.
Well, I wasn't going to jump into it, but I was just going to say
you just brought it up.
He came to Chicago to study, so that's how he.
Oh, we'll just leave it at that. Who's Joe?
Yeah. Who's Joe? Yeah. Does anyone know that name?
Yeah. Anyway, so he was one of the founding members.
Yeah.
So these guys just start making music though, basically.
Yeah.
There was Dalton Allison and Matt Williams. They got a few more guys to form the band.
Yeah.
Started coming out with some singles. Started dropping them. Just started to create.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
pretty much.
Yeah. So basically they're in the Chicago scene.
Yeah.
And they start playing shows, like small shows, DIY shows. They said one of the first shows was playing to 7 people in like at midnight. Yeah. And they were just kind of cutting their teeth.
Yeah. Sounds like they've experienced a good sort of rise in the live scene there. Yeah, like you say, they had done these shows with 7 people, but then it grew and the venues got larger just from them keep doing it. And they said the DIY shows were the best, like the house parties that were put on by people, and it'd just be packed with people, and they just playing,
just looser. Even if the sound is a little shittier. Yeah, it just makes it fun. Yeah. Beer spilling. Yeah, and just that kind of raucous young energy.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, they were having a good time and they were learning their craft. Yeah. I think the guy who plays bass, they taught him bass when he was like 18 or 19. Okay. For example. Right. Yeah. So they were still learning their instruments. Yeah. At least some of them were. Yeah. And learning how to write and bond together. That's the other cool thing about this band. It's really like their bond as friends is pretty powerful. Yeah. And I think that's something that they care about too.
Yeah, they sound. Yeah, it sounds very like they're nice people. They just get along really well, and almost sort of democratic music making kind of thing in a way. Very sort of fair, and it comes across. I think one interviewer described their music as like friendly or something like that.
No, totally. Yeah. There was one story. I think. Did you hear about the van?
No.
When they were on, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but we'll come back. But they were on tour. And they had a van, so they were driving. The van broke down, and so they were like in this moment. They're like, "What do we do?" Oh my! They got into an argument. Okay. So they were kind of fighting. No. I'm right. You're wrong. What should we do? We should do this. We should do that. Blah blah blah. Classic. And so they figured it out. They're like, "We need to stop, slow down. Like we're friends. Let's figure this out. We need to speak to each other with respect and let's get organized and we can do this. We're greater as a band and let's be cool with each other." Yeah. And so they figured this out and they made a plan. They did something that fixed the car, but apparently the car only ran for like 20 more minutes or something. And then it broke down again. Okay. And so it was like a ultimate, test of their brotherhood immediately. Yeah. Like they had this talk and then the same day they had to go through the same problem again. Yeah. And so put their money where their mouth is. Right. Yeah. But just a testament to like how much they care about bonding and caring about themselves outside of the band. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So anyway, yeah. So
yeah, their first stuff was self-released, right?
Yeah,
they were
DIY.
doing their own shows and all that.
They were not signed.
And then they sort of, let's talk a bit about what I've heard them say is their debut album, but it seems like it's their second album. When I Think of You in a Castle, right? That was the first one that they did on this label, Polyvinyl record company, they're called, right? And I was sort of looking around at that, and it's interesting because, a lot of times we like to find out how artists get discovered and signed or whatever. Apparently, these guys, Polyvinyl Record is like a Chicago label, and the guy that runs it, came from the same hometown as a couple of the guys from Post Animal kind of thing. And they call themselves small town guys kind of thing. So they felt like they could trust this label kind of thing and sign up with them. And they said they kind of were thinking about this label before they got signed. Like they knew of it. It's a small community there in Chicago. People knew, like friends of friends knew the people that were on the label. There's some artists on there that they really liked kind of thing. But they ended up getting hooked up and signed. But it's a strange timing. I feel like this album was recorded before they got the deal, but it was released like on the label kind of thing. So they already had the album in the can kind of thing.
They manifested it.
And I think this kind of leads into the Joe Keery story a little bit. Do I want to talk about the member that left the band?
Yeah, so he had bigger fish to fry.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess you could say. So he had a aspiring acting career. Yeah. Or he was an aspiring actor, you could say. Yeah. Has anybody seen Stranger Things?
Stranger Things, yeah. It's little.
You could answer at any time.
Small little show on one of the streaming networks, right?
Yeah, just tiny little show, small budget, no promos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But Joe Keery.
Yeah.
So he was on the.
He played Steve Harrington. If you're watching this on video, you'll recognize him now.
Look at him.
Yeah.
Look at that hair.
Yeah. The hair. He's himself confused why people talk about his hair all the time. But yeah.
Look in the mirror, Joe. But so he got this gig. I'm not sure how he landed that. I don't know the story. I didn't look into that, to be honest.
Yeah, so he did go to theatre school at DePaul University, which is in Chicago, and that sort of seems to line up about like how he might have met the guys in the band, because he graduated from there in 2014. He originally came from Newburyport, Massachusetts, kind of thing. But so it seems like music and acting for him were like his passions all the way, and
artistic guy.
Yeah, so even in the first few releases of Post Animal, he'd already done like some KFC commercials.
Okay.
I think he was in an episode. He had roles in Empire, Chicago Fire. I think these are like TV shows. But so he like was kind of very much an equal member of Post Animal. Like we said, they all write songs, they all sing. They all basically present demos or ideas to the group, and then the rest of the group all like kind of, does their best to make that song happen, kind of thing. And so Joe was definitely in there doing that stuff with them. And he was on every track we've played so far, I think. And I think the last appearance he was on was this album, When I Think of You in a Castle. We're going to play a track called Ralphie, which is, he apparently, I think was like his idea. He mostly wrote the song.
Cool.
So when the guys wanted to make a music video, they were like he'd already left the band. Like he left after they finished recording it, before they released it.
Yeah,
to do Strange Things and all that stuff. So, but since he wrote most of the song, the band wanted him in the video. So there's this crazy video, I don't know if you've seen it, of them like out in like a desert. It looks like a sort of space sci-fi Star Trek parody type thing, and Joe Keery appears at the end, like sitting on a rock in the sea. Kind of
just at the end.
Just at the end, yeah.
I did not see that. I'll have to watch that later.
Yeah. But that's for this track called Ralphie. Should we give it a spin?
Sure. No, that's the Steve Harrington story. But pretty cool to see him, the Joe Keery story.
Yeah.
But very cool to see him have success in a band.
Yeah.
And the talent and stuff, and then it also has some acting chops, and to see him succeed in such a huge monumental show. Because
I didn't even know. Like, I was reading Post Animal's biography, and they were like, "Oh yeah, Joe Keery left to pursue acting," and I was like, "Acting? Okay, what's he doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't even know the guy's name." Like,
yeah, you're right.
It's like, oh, that guy, because he's really good. He's a really good actor, actually. I have to say.
Yeah,
that. Like,
he plays that role great.
So it's great to hear that he also is an accomplished songwriter and musician of not pop music or weird stuff, but psychedelic.
He's not
weirdness.
just a heartthrob,
exactly,
teeny bopper on TV.
Yeah,
he's got more. There's more to him.
Yeah,
but let's play this track.
Okay.
All the time.
Ralphie from Post Animal, from their album When I Think of You in a Castle.
It's a good track. Thanks, Joe Keery.
Yeah. Joe Keery was on that. He was on this album. He left the band after they recorded this album, before it was released. They recorded this all in a haunted cabin, apparently. Did you hear about this?
No.
Yeah, they went to this place to record the album, and it was a friend's place, which they'd heard stories of. And the only stories they encountered, that I heard of, were in the middle of the night, a bedside table just fell over. And he said it was pretty sturdy and it had a lamp on it, but it just like fell right over.
That is sketchy.
Someone else witnessed just a door slamming, you know, so...
Scary, scary.
And they were like, maybe the spirit was like captured on the album somewhere, you know, maybe.
Oh yeah,
that was the other thing.
Or maybe it's Joe Keery and all the creepiness on Stranger Things is creeping in.
Maybe it's not Voldemort.
Oh yeah,
what's the Vecna or something?
Oh yeah, what is it, Vecna?
I think that's it. Yeah, creeping out of the walls. I don't know.
Yeah, what are they?
The underworld. Or something.
The Gobbledygoosh or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I don't know all the names. Yeah,
I didn't see the last season.
You gotta watch it. It's funny, actually. Yeah, it's getting funny and funny.
It's a comedy for Jay.
Yeah. Well, especially his role, Joe Keery. He gets funny as the seasons progress.
He does kind of the comic relief.
He does, yeah.
With that one curly-haired kid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wears the hat and stuff. Yeah, it's good. It's fun.
Oh, by the way, I just wanted to mention some of his, because he's still making music. One of his earliest monikers was Cool Cool Cool. He used to release music under Cool Cool Cool.
Cool Cool Cool.
Cool Cool Cool. He's currently releasing music under the name Joe. I think that's how you pronounce it. D-J-O.
Nice.
Joe.
Got that D in there, I like it.
He has a couple of singles out and an album out, which I haven't listened to yet, but I'm interested to see what he's making and how different it might be to Post Animal, or if it's the same. I don't know.
Check it out, you guys. Let us know what you think. So we're not really talking about every specific album during this show, just kind of, you know, busting through it. But as, like, for example, on Spotify, there's 4 releases of full-length new music. So the 2015 album, the Post Animal Perfect performances under the Curious Water Activities or whatever it's called. 2018, When I Think of You. Or no, When I Think of You in a Castle fully. Yeah. And then Forward Motion. and then a live album 2021, and then Love Gibberish is the newest one, 2022, just to give their discography laid down on record.
Yeah, and they're all a bit different sounding. One of the things they said, and this is the last thing I'll say about Joe Keery, when he left, they found it challenging to fill the hole. Because they were asked, like, well, you have 6 people in your band, isn't that like a lot? How do you like deal with all of that? And when he left, they did fill the hole in the music, and they, like, one of the other guys was like, oh, I've had to like learn his parts that he was playing on these songs, where they're like doubling up certain things, you know, to play it live and stuff. And they said it was definitely noticeable in the writing as well, like, you know, and the performing, that this extra member wasn't there. But like you say about their writing, yeah, it's all kind of, everyone brings an idea, and we said all that. I said all that earlier. So.
We could say it again. No, but that is one of the coolest things about their collaborative cohesion. Yeah. And they're able to do it semi easily. Yeah. Seems to come pretty natural to them. Yeah. And they bring a air of like nobody's superior. Yeah. Nobody's in charge. Yeah. They all get equal, you know, like, and each of them don't want to get in the way of each other. Yeah. Like they're all like, I want to put my ideas, but like only this much. Like I want you to have your ideas, and everyone can contribute. Yeah. And they seem to do that really well. However that works, the intricacies of the psychology when they're in the room together, you know, I don't know.
It probably like also, I don't know if like they chose their genre or they just fell into it as a consequence of that approach to making music, because like I've heard some people say that because each member has such diverse influences, that's why it sounds like that Post Animals music jumps around a lot stylistically. But it kind of fits in that prog rock psychedelic way where you kind of have the license to do that, right?
Totally.
Like,
yeah, like the last that song Rugby, what is it, Rugy?
The last one we played, Ralphie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that one sounds like a Steely Dan demo or something. Yeah. Like more 70s rock more than like a Tame Impala psychedelic track.
Definitely. Yeah.
But obviously they do these kind of different genres, but you could still tell it's post-animal style. Yeah. And that's what's really cool. Yeah. I think it's impressive when a band can do different styles, but you know it's that they still have their kind of signature over each track.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, you know, it comes from just naturally from them, what they write. Also, they do all the recording and mixing themselves, you know, and I think like the guy that mixes it, sorry, I just want to identify the correct band member here, if I can.
Is the bass player?
Dalton. Yeah. Dalton Allison. Yeah. Allison? Yeah. Allison? Dalton Allison.
Check my notes.
It's quite a name. Dalton Allison.
Yeah. DA.
Yeah. He could be a fashion designer or something. I don't know that name.
Yeah.
But yeah, he mixes all of the music as well. And the drummer, Wesley, said about that, well, first of all, Wesley doesn't know how to do any of that stuff himself, mixing or recording. He doesn't fuck with that stuff, apparently. He also said that Dalton listens to a lot of like old R&B, like Stevie Wonder, and like that. That's where his influences come from. So he's like, I think Wesley was kind of saying that's probably why it sounds a little bit Tame Impala-ish or vintage, because like when he's mixing, he's like using this old kind of R&B stuff as reference material kind of thing. Like,
works really well to give him that kind of vintage psych sound.
Yeah, yeah, it works. Although I don't hear that production quality on their latest album, Love Gibberish. It's a little like the drum sound particularly is a little more cleaner, and I actually don't like it. Like
a little more contemporary.
Yeah.
Almost more, boring.
A little bit, yeah. Because it works, but and we'll hear it, we're going to play out with a track from it. But I like the grit that they have on the rest of the recordings. It sounds like, I don't think it's analog tape that they're using, but it sounds like that.
For sure.
Or like gritty, compression, saturation or whatever.
Yeah, it's all a little distorted, but it's mixing together really well.
Yeah, yeah. So, but they're not doing that on this one. And also, so they left their label. That's what happened as well. So Love Gibberish is the most recent album, and they're self-releasing it. Because I think they've had a little bit of a tough relationship with the music industry, it sounds like. They think it's necessary. They also think it sucks, which I think a lot of people do. Specifically, they said they didn't realize how many middlemen there were in every aspect of the thing. And also, they said they didn't know what a record label does until you work with a record label, and then you kind of like learn as you go. Something that they've said. Like they said they didn't know what a booking manager did. They didn't know what a record label did. And I can understand that. Like, yeah, there's a lot of pieces, and it is a dark art, it seems like, how you go about doing all of that side of things, you know?
Yeah, it's not as simple. It's what it comes down to relationships with people who you know. Like, oh, I know a guy who could do this, and it has to get done in this business style because that's how he does it. But it might be different for a different band in a different state, different circles of people. So it's never just super cut and dry.
And I heard them say as well, it's like you have to do a lot of favors for people before they sort of become a relationship that you can rely on in the music industry, kind of thing. Like, favors. Well, hopefully not illegal favors, but you know, I don't know, who knows. But I mean, like, play a show for free, for example, or some shit like that. Probably that type of stuff.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I don't know. Like, how big do you think Post Animal are right now? Do you feel like they're still underground and they're grinding it out, or?
I feel like they're in kind of a weird state of being underground, but they have this kind of, you know, the Joe Keery, like, kind of influence.
Right.
Like that, I think that's kind of bringing a lot of some energy.
What you mean, fans from them? Yeah, because I did like that video I watched of Ralphie. I was looking at the comments and I was like, okay, let's see how many people were here for him, and there were.
So at least, some coming just from Stranger Things when they find out he's in a band, and then they check out Post Animal. Maybe they like it or not, but just the publicity. It's one more route of publicity.
But obviously, the band are not trying to use that as a way.
They're not.
They
never speak about it.
And I think that, I don't know if that's part of the reason why Joe left the band as well. And he said it was scheduling conflicts, and obviously, like, he's busy, he can't be taking part in tours and all the time and stuff like that. But I think another thing he mentioned about is, like, he didn't want to mix up, like, his newfound fame and Stranger Things with the promotion of the band, kind of thing.
It would tarnish the integrity of what the band is trying to do.
Yeah,
they don't want to just be like, let's get as famous as possible and use this fame to make us more famous. Yeah, I think they're drawing that boundary line. Let's try to keep these things separate. Yeah. There's going to be some overlap and some publicity going back and forth one way or another. Yeah, but they're definitely not like, hey, we're the band with the Stranger Things guy.
Exactly, yeah.
Let's get a bunch of band photos and promote it like that.
Which they could easily do, or most other bands would do. Like, it could even be in their bio, you know. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Post Animal made famous by former member Joe Keery, blah, blah. Like, you know, they're not doing that.
Yeah, and that's respectable.
That's a testament, I think, probably to their personalities as well. Like, they all seem very chill and egoless.
They do, yeah.
And so they're in it for the music. They're not in it to get famous. So I mean, that's probably, it's a tough thing though, right? Because to make it in music, you do need that kind of attitude, success, like chasing something, like success, or some kind of, like, what's the word to say it, motivation. Like, you need a certain amount of grit and determination to do it, right?
Yeah, to persevere, to keep going.
Yeah. Like, I think about Damon Albarn, like, recently watching that thing. Like, obviously he had a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not, you know what I mean? It's like, I guess it's motivation, but, like, you know.
Discipline,
desire to succeed, you know.
Will.
Drive, will, yeah, that kind of stuff. I thought one of those
Desire?
words. Desire, yeah. Just kind of like, you know, you're not just making the music, like, you do want stuff to happen with it. You do want certain things to work out well. Like, you want as many people to listen to the album.
Like integrity.
Integrity, yeah.
Like we want this so bad, but we're not going to take this shortcut.
little bit, yeah. But also, like, you know, I don't know. It's weird. It's like that drive, that ambition. Ambition. That's the word I was looking for.
Vocab word of the day.
Jesus. Yeah, because ambition is, to me, is like drive and all of those things, but it's also like kind of pushing the boundaries a bit to make something happen versus sitting back and, you know, not making things happen, you know. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a tough thing in music world, like, to do it all, to like have the ambition to succeed, but also to have the integrity to just do the music.
Yeah.
Like, and how do you balance that kind of thing?
It's a balancing act in this circus of a world.
Yeah. Because the industry is all about stuff that you don't want to deal with. And I think that's part of why they left the label as well. They said there's certain hoops that you need to jump through, and they just didn't. They were kind of just done with that for now. They just wanted to go out on their own, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't. They said respectfully, there's like they love the label still, and they love working with the guys and what they did accomplish for the band. But for some reason, the band just didn't want to do that.
Fair enough.
Type of thing anymore. Like,
they don't want to be, you know, like a, you know, a circus monkey or something where you, well, we're a part of this, so we have to do this, we have to do that, jump through the hoops to get what we want. Like, we don't need it.
Yeah.
We like to make music.
Yeah.
We can do it ourselves. Yeah. So we will on our own terms.
Yeah.
And that's respectable.
Yeah.
I like them for that.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's about where they're at right now. They have this new album out, Love Gibberish. They're still trying to tour and play shows, right?
Yeah.
But they're all doing it DIY again, and they're still kind of underground, under the radar a little bit. But I thought they're getting, you know, I mean, you've heard of them. They're getting good streams. People would
they have like 200,000 listeners, monthly listeners on Spotify. Yeah. I don't know how recent it was, but they were opening up for Cage the Elephant, which is, you know, pretty big these days. Yeah. And, you know, that's an impressive bill to be on. Yeah. So I think they're still on their trajectory of creating themselves, making what they don't, you know, they're still getting bigger, I think. They're getting more exposure, and they want more. They want to continue to make music, build their brotherhood. Yeah. And I think we're going to see more Post Animal in the future. And
they're doing it on their own timeline, their own timetable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It sounds like.
So DIY, I like it.
Yeah.
That's all I got on the Post Animal.
That's all I have. This is episode 99, by the way. We're one away from 100.
Get that. Get out.
I don't know what to do for 100. Like, I feel like maybe we should do a Red Hot Chili Peppers episode or something.
We might have to do an awesome one like that.
Just like one of our favorites.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe some kind of compilation.
Or we'll just do the cop-out. You know how like Friends used to just be like, I remember that thing, and then just have a compilation episode of old clips.
I totally resent that. We're not going to do that. Okay. It's a fun idea, but
we'll do an original.
It is a cop-out. Okay, that's weak. I want to see a brand new episode.
That's actually more effort to put together as well.
For sure. For the editors and stuff, the actors just have to say, remember that?
Exactly.
And the editors are like, I had to sift through the files of this other.
Yeah. Did you have that hard drive? Where's that hard drive?
It's in the studio.
I have to download it. Fuck. Okay. Yeah. So.
But we're not going to do that because we care about you guys too much.
Yeah.
And we care about ourselves too much. We love ourselves. We love you. Yeah. That's all on Post Animal. If you guys want to hang out with us on Twitter, @Roots2Grooves, Instagram, @Roots2Grooves, TikTok, @SIGNL Radio. Where else are we? We are on YouTube.
@Roots2Grooves.
And then if you want to, so hang out with us. We're very online. And if you want to get in touch with us directly with some cool info or comments, concerns, suggestions, hit us at the link that Jay is about to drop for our email. I'm out.
Roots2Grooves @signalradio.com. SIGNL radio.com.
The power's out, it's not coming on. The only light comes down like a bolt from above. At times I fear that all I can do is watch. out of the moonlight, there's a shadow on the ground. My wheel of fortune keeps hurling me round. Lead me with my heart, please show me the way. Place me like flowers on a grave. Carry me. Walls come up, rain comes down. I let it flow sometimes when time's right, when I feel right. I turn it upside out, I can turn it inside. Embrace duality, fall before you can fly. The power's down, it's not coming on. The only light comes down like a bolt from above.
Roots to Grooves is a production of SIGNL Radio. For more music and independent culture, visit signalradio.com. That's SIGNL radio.com.